Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to another episode of Cath-Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. Well, today I am bringing you a nun with a vampire book. That's right. You heard me correctly. A nun with a vampire book. My guest this evening is Sister Allison Regina Gliot. She told me to pronounce it like Goliath, but without the TH sound at the end. So Gliot. I hope I got it right. Anyways, Sister Allison has always loved reading and telling stories. The most fantastical, the better, she says. She fell in love with Jesus in college and became a daughter of St. Paul after graduation. You may know the Daughters of St. Paul as the quote unquote media nuns or hashtag media nuns. Since joining the Daughters of St. Paul, she's had many adventures and now serves as an editor for Pauline Books and Media. She is the author of several books for children and teens, including The Curse He Chose, a young adult vampire novel with a Catholic twist. And that's the one we're going to be talking about tonight. So please help me welcome Sister Allison. Hello, Sister Allison.
Hello.
Welcome to Cath-Lit Live. I'm so excited to have you on tonight.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So I've already mentioned we're talking with a nun with a vampire novel, which is a fun thing to be talking about. I do know there are some other Catholic vampire novels out there, but as far as I know, none written by a nun. So I'm interested in hearing about The Curse He Chose. Give us your little 30-second elevator pitch for this one.
Yeah, so it's about a girl named Elizabeth who has just graduated from high school, and all her friends are going off to college, and she is not, and she's pretty upset about it. But then one night, she runs into a fight between vampires and realizes that she might have some bigger problems. So she's forced on the run with Christopher, who is a vampire outcast who has started to develop a conscience and hates that he is developing a conscience. And so, as the two of them are kind of working together to survive these evil vampires that are hunting them, she begins to realize that the only thing that is really going to protect her from these vampires and that's really going to help Christopher is her Catholic faith. So that's the short version.
I'm intrigued just by the idea of a vampire outcast right there. Like that, like what does it take to become an outcast among vampires?
Well, you
But
got to read the book and find out.
it's true. Yes, right. I'll have to find out. So what inspired you to write a Catholic novel about vampires? Because I have met some other Catholic authors through the Catholic Writers Guild who have kind of tackled this subject a bit. But what brought you to this idea?
So I loved vampire books as a teenager. I read a lot of them. And there were a lot of moments when I wanted to like the story more than I did, but I didn't really relate to the characters or the choices they were making and some of the things that were going on. And as I got a little bit older and started discovering older vampire lore and mythology, like Dracula and earlier, I was blown away by how much Catholic stuff is built into there, like as far as like vampires having an aversion to consecrated ground or crucifixes being effective against it, like all the stuff that we know about vampires in like old school vampire stories. But most of that is not really in modern YA versions of vampire stories at all, like from Twilight onwards, or if it is there, it's kind of more on a surface level thing. And so I really felt inspired to tell a vampire story in the modern YA style using a lot of the different like plot situations and characters and things that people love, that teenagers love, but kind of bringing in that old school Catholic grounding where your soul is actually at stake here and there are eternal consequences for these things and your relationship with God or not might just save your life in an encounter with a hungry vampire. So
Intriguing. So as an editor, right? You're an editor for Pauline Books and Media. What was your journey to publication like? I mean, do you turn to your other media nuns and be like, hey, I wrote something. Can we publish it? How does that work?
So I actually wrote the story when I was a postulant in initial formation with the Daughters of St. Paul. So before I was an editor at the publishing house, Jesus inspired me with it as an Advent project one year, and I was like, well, that's kind of a weird Advent project, but who am I to question?
Right.
And I really thought I was just writing it like for myself and for Jesus. But when I finished, he was like, "Okay, time to share it with other people." And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like they're gonna think I'm crazy. But
Can
I
we just
really,
keep this between us, Jesus? Like,
yeah, really. But no, he was not about that. So I did eventually work up the courage to share it with the other sisters. I was really worried that they would think I was crazy for writing vampire books, but I was really blown away by their response because they could immediately see, like, okay, this is a really fun story, like it's well written, but also like the potential to bring young people to a deeper relationship with God, and like all of the Catholic themes that I was able to play with, and explore, like with the sacraments and different things about prayer. They just loved how that was so woven into the story. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to do it. So it took several more years of, I mean, I said they loved it, but they were also ripping it apart and being like, okay, got to be theologically accurate. You got to have better character development. It can't be too preachy. So I did work a lot on it. And I originally wrote it as a standalone, but they wanted a sequel because they wanted to see where the characters went. And then they wanted a trilogy. So it was like at a certain point, like, okay, you guys got to pick, like, is it going to be 3 books? Do not ask for more than that. So they settled on trilogy. It is now a trilogy. This is book one in the trilogy. But I think because of that journey, like of years working on it with them in the publishing house, it is a much stronger book than it was before. So I'm very excited now that finally, after all these years, it's going out there into the world and meeting with real readers.
And what is the timeline going to look like for number 2 and number 3 coming out in the trilogy?
Yeah, so number 2, I'm not allowed to say exactly when it's coming out yet. I will at the beginning of November be able to share about that.
Ah,
But it will be coming out very early 2026, and the third book will be coming out later in 2026.
oh, nice. We won't have to wait too long.
Yeah, that was the hope. And that was partly why they wanted me to write all 3 books before we started publishing them, because they did not want me to, write book 1, publish it, write book 2, publish it, and then get stuck on book 3 and be like, wait, I need to change something in book 1. So it
Yes.
took a lot of pressure off of me as an author as well to do it that way.
Yes, yes. Good to have that well planned out, and then you don't have to worry about it. So you went over your religious sisters, but what has the response been like from readers so far? Because it came out about a month ago or so, I think, or 2 months ago, right? Not too
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah, I've been blown away at people's responses. A lot of young people, but not just young people. I've had people who are not young adults ask me, "Am I allowed to read this?" I'm like, "Yes, you can read it. If you don't
Adults
mind."
can read YA. It happens all the time.
Yeah, if you don't mind that the main characters have some immaturities, but like adults have immaturities too. So, no, but I've been getting responses from readers. Well, first of all, that like they loved it, they couldn't put it down, they really enjoyed the character development. But I think my favorite responses, I've gotten several like handwritten letters or like long direct messages on Instagram from readers who like have decided to become a Eucharistic minister at their church or go to daily mass, or even several young women who are discerning religious life now after reading the book. And there was one young man who shared that the journey of Christopher, the main vampire character, with kind of trying to come to terms with his past and reconcile with like learning how he could be loved and accept God's love, really resonated with this young man personally, and was like, I need to talk to God about this. Like I'm gonna be changing the way that I'm living because of this. And to me that's so beautiful, that like not just that people can enjoy the story and get a lot out of it on that level, but that it's actually inspiring them to like have a relationship with God and go a little bit deeper in their faith and see themselves differently, like more like God sees them. So yeah, it's been really beautiful for me as an author to get that kind of feedback.
Yeah, yeah, we really need that because writing can be such a lonely experience. And when you put your baby out there into the world, you hope it touches people's hearts, but often we don't even hear about it
Yeah.
unless people reach out to us. So that's beautiful that you've heard from people already.
Yeah, it has been beautiful. And there was a moment early on when I was still writing it when Jesus was like, okay, it's time to start praying for the future readers. And I was like, what future readers? Like, what are you talking about?
I thought we were keeping this between us, Jesus.
Exactly. But from that point onwards, like, okay, well, this is a responsibility. Like he's given me, like, I don't just write the book, I also have to, as a religious sister especially, like continue keeping the spiritual well-being of anyone who's touched by these apostolic projects in my heart and mind and prayers. And so I've definitely been praying for them all along, and I know my sisters are too. So that's like one of the added benefits, I guess, of reading this book is you get to be in the nun circle of prayer forever.
Yes, yes. We need those. We need those. We love it. All of the readers and all of us who are fellow creators like you are, we're so thankful to the Daughters of St. Paul for praying for us all the time. So please know how much we appreciate that. Keep the prayers coming. I recently led a retreat for writers, and I know that, they're so grateful for the support of the Daughters of St. Paul, and how much you keep all of us creative. I've been on the Media Apostle Retreat with the Daughters of St. Paul before too. And again, so many of us who've been on that retreat, so grateful, because we know that you're praying for us and how we can use God's talents like you have in this book and in this series, which we're so looking forward to reading. So where can people find out about you, your books, especially because now we know there's going to be more books coming out? We want to be able to keep up with it. Where should we go?
Yeah, my author website is Gliot, my last name, .pauline.org. And so that's the place where you can find all my things in one spot. I'm also on Instagram and X and Facebook at sister_Allison. You can find me. There's not a lot of other Sister Allison Gliots in the world, so you can find me and connect with me there. If you want to support the nuns directly by getting books from us instead of Amazon or another third-party retailer, you can go to paulinestore.com or .ca if you're in Canada. And you can find all of our books there, many other awesome books. If you want to go on the Media Apostles Retreat that you just mentioned, the next one's coming up in January. We're very excited in Malibu, California. So you can also just, I think, search online Media Apostles Retreat and you'll be able to find it pretty easily as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Sister Allison. It was a pleasure to meet you. I've met so many of your cohorts, but this is the first time you and I have had a chance to talk.
Yeah, it's wonderful to meet you too. And I'll certainly be praying for you and the ministry you do here and all of your viewers as well.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to wave goodbye to Sister Allison. Thank you, sister. All right. I do love the Daughters of St. Paul. Their ministry is so beautiful. And I'm so grateful to them for all of their prayers. If you've read The Curse He Chose or any of Sister Allison's other works, I'd love to hear about it, what you think. I'm hoping to get my hands on a copy before too long. The school year is always such a hard time for me to fit in some reading, but that is in the plan. Maybe I'll put it on my Christmas wish list. There's an idea for you all. Put it on your Christmas wish list or buy it for a teen that you love. The Curse He Chose by Sister Allison Gliot, like Goliath, but it's Gliot. I will put the info down there for all of you to see. So in the meantime, I'm just going to wish you all happy reading.